Over the last few days, I've had quite a few people ask me what I think about what's going on in Baltimore right now, and what I think of rioting in general. Now, I know a lot of people expect me to stand up here and say, oh, they're monsters and they're animals and they shouldn't be doing this and violence is never the answer, etc. But I'm not going to say that, because sometimes I think violence is the answer. Now, before you get your panties all in a knot, hear me out. I'm not saying violence is always the answer. Violence is always a last resort, but it should always be in the toolbox. Anytime a society is being oppressed, I think they have the right to fight back. And if that includes violence, so be it. I believe that people have a right to fight back against tyranny. When their government isn't serving them, they have a right to take matters into their own hands. And let's face it, today we're living more and more in a society where government is appearing to be nothing more than a bunch of money grabbers that only serve the corporations and the wealthy, the people that line their pockets, not the common man. And unfortunately, we're seeing more and more where the police departments are being militarized and used by the haves to control the have-nots. They're being used more to suppress civil liberties, to suppress the common person, than they are to actually enforce the law. And you also can't blame some people for eventually fighting back, even when some people are like, well, they got no reason to fight back. Well, you treat someone like an animal long enough and they're going to act like an animal. When you line police up in the street every day and say, well, we're watching you, well, eventually they're going to do something worth watching. And this whole thing of police acting proactively with force to try to prevent crime, I don't agree with that. I don't think you rule through intimidation. I will never agree with that from any government or any police force. I mean, to a degree, it is okay to act proactively and to take steps to prevent crime, but it is not okay to do that in a way that tramples on the civil liberties and the freedoms of the individual person. I mean, freedom comes with a great deal of risk, and those risks are things we accept to remain free people. And when you allow the police to remove those freedoms for the sake of safety, then you are violating everything this country stands for. You'll just never get me to accept the idea that it's okay to maintain peace through force. Besides, it doesn't work. You'll prevent more crime with education and opportunity than you ever will with smoke grenades and armored vehicles. So you're not going to hear me standing up here saying that rioting is intrinsically bad, or that the people that do it are intrinsically bad. Sometimes it's the only option people have left, and sometimes it's appropriate. Now, you're not going to hear me supporting the riots that are going on in Baltimore right now, because I think they're a little premature. I don't think we've quite gotten to that point. Plus, I don't think they're doing it in any kind of constructive manner. I think they're allowing the wrong element to do the wrong thing, and it's making them look bad. I definitely don't understand the way they're going about things there if they are trying to do something positive. If you're upset with the government or you're upset with law enforcement, you don't burn down your own house. If I was mad at the government, I would burn down a government building. If I was mad at the police, I'd turn over a police car. I wouldn't burn down my own CVS pharmacy where I have to go pick up my Valtrex prescription tomorrow. It's kind of like if I was pulled over and I thought the cop had no right to pull me over, I wouldn't prove my point that he was in the wrong and I was in the right by throwing a fit and slashing my own tires. What's that going to get me? All that's going to do is prove that he was justified in treating me the way he treated me, and now I'm stuck with no ride. I'm going to have to give like a hand job to a long haul trucker to get home, or I'm going to have to walk my ass home. And no one really wins in that situation. And what's going on in Baltimore right now is a situation where I don't think anyone's really going to win. You just don't do it the way they're doing it. Don't burn down your own neighborhoods. And definitely don't steal. When you start making it about you getting something, when you start making it selfish like that, you've completely destroyed your cause. Now, I know some people are going to get their panties all knotted, like I said earlier, and they're going to be like, oh, the Yankee Marshal is promoting violence on his videos. No, I'm not promoting violence. Violence is always the last resort. But sometimes the last resort is the only one you have left. And if we ever do have to get to that last resort and we have to be violent, make sure that violence is meaningful. Be judicious with violence. Be thoughtful with violence. Target it in a proper manner. Don't burn down the businesses of people that worked hard to have what little they have. Don't burn down your own homes in your own neighborhoods. Target the people that you need to target. Do it in a way that makes a point, that actually furthers your agenda. So I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying that violence in itself is not intrinsically bad. Sometimes violence can be a positive thing. It can bring about positive change, but you have to do it in the right way. Fortunately, I don't think it's time for violence yet. We haven't gone that far as a society. We haven't degraded to that point. But it might be time to let the powers that be know we are willing to go there if we have to. my real dad.